Almost every modern bladesmith and blacksmith uses a welding machine in their shop. At least I do on almost every project, whether it's making Damascus, putting handles on billets, or making tools. Today we're going to be looking at the YesWelder Firstess 2050 7-in-1 welding machine. Now I have to say that YesWelder reached out to me, asked me if I would take this machine, take a look at it, give my opinions about it. I didn't pay for it. They sent it to me for free. So I said I would. I'll give you my honest opinion about it. We'll take a look at the features, what it can do, what it can't do, what comes with it, accessories, that sort of thing. So let's get to unboxing. Let's take a look at a few of the features while we're unboxing. It's AC and DC stick, AC and DC TIG plus pulse TIG, plasma cutter, and a built-in compressor. You have the option of using your house compressor if you like. Now your voltage options are 96 to 265 volts, 50 amps. Just remember that if you're running at 110 volts or 120 volts and lower, that your amperage is going to be limited. Just make sure you get a qualified electrician to make sure you get your circuit set up right for how you're going to be operating. Comes with smart control. It kind of takes the guesswork out of your AC welding when you're doing aluminum welds. You can select your positioning, your thickness of material, and that sort of thing. It's really helpful for beginners. A remote control option is available. A foot pedal doesn't come with it, but you can set it in foot pedal mode, and if you get a foot pedal, hook it up and you're good to go. However, remote control is equipped on the torch itself. There's also a CNC option. Okay, let's talk about what came in the box with the machine. Start right here with some of the accessories. You got what looks like 3 different size cups for your TIG torch. You got your holder, collet, couple collets, but no tungstens. So you'll have to get tungsten separately. You got some tubing. This will be for your air connection system. We've got our rod holder. Seems like a pretty good holder. Twist lock. This was pretty impressive to me, was this ground clamp that's not a cheapo ground clamp like comes with a lot of them, like this one. So I'm really liking that clamp. Heavy duty clamp, twist lock, of course. You've got your power connection and a 110 option. We'll talk about that a little later. Here is your air filter regulator. That'll hook up to the back of the machine. Got some parts with it. We got a gas hose, the connectors, and we've got our TIG torch. It's got connectors for your gas, and here is our cutter, our plasma cutter head. And what I really like about this is the nice metal standoff. It's got a safety trigger and your connections. But that's pretty much it in the box, other than this one piece of paper that shows a connection diagram. Now, I would have liked to have seen a user manual. It would have been nice to have, but this is what you got. So let's get this machine hooked up and start going over some of the functions. So right now we're going to go ahead and hook up our air filter regulator, but I wanted to show you we've got our gas input, on-off switch, and some control cable connections here. First thing we got to do is get this bracket mounted. Next, we're going to take our hose, our gas in, gas out. Now, if you wanted to not use the internal compressor, which is a really nice feature, you can disconnect it here and bring in your house compressor here. Then it'll feed. But we're going to hook it up with the internal compressor that's built into this machine. Now, I think it's pretty obvious why they don't ship this already mounted. You'd probably get tore off. Okay, we're going to get our TIG torch hooked up first. I'm not really crazy about it. It's unlike a traditional TIG torch with a flexible head like this one here, where you can get in various positions, smaller. So just a little something to think about. It's fixed, but looking at our supplies here, we got a 4, 5, and 6 nozzle. We've got the same in the collet sizes, and we've got our collet holder. So we'll go ahead and put this thing together. Our collet holder in. Get this one started. We're going to put our number 6 on here. Set up on the torch here. You got your start and amp control. Now with a foot pedal, you'd do that from your foot pedal, of course. This is one thing that some shop folks might find annoying. All right, let's get her powered up. A little bit about the control panel. So right now we can see that this is our input voltage, 245 volts. And this is how we can scroll through our functions. This is our slope down, our stop. This is our post gas, pre-gas, start amp, slope up setting, and our amperage. Now you can set all of these right here with this knob, and you can go through your settings. Start amps, our slope up. I'm gonna just set that at 0.3. Our slope down. I'll just have to test it out to see what works. I like the post gas, 2 seconds. Pre-gas is 0.6. I like it pretty quick. So I'm gonna go back to our amperage. Looking at our weld mode, just run through them. Got AC TIG, we're doing some aluminum. For DC TIG, stick, plasma cutting, and cut with a house compressor. And this here is your torch mode, 2T, 4T, and or with a foot pedal. Now when you're in the AC TIG mode, you've got this smart TIG input here. You switch over and you can select your weld position, overhead, vertical, flat. And here you can set your thicknesses. This is really helpful for beginners and novices alike, in my opinion. But you can only use that in smart mode on AC. When you go back to DC, that goes away. So the last thing we're going to cover is our AC DC pulse TIG. Pulse TIG is very helpful when you're working on thin materials you don't want to burn through or blow out. So whether you're in the AC or DC mode and we want to go to our pulse TIG menu, we're going to come here, push it down, hold it down for 5 seconds. And our pulse TIG shows up, and we can go through the same menu options for our pulse TIG. Now to get back to our regular menu and out of pulse TIG, do the same thing, hold it in for 5 seconds. So right now we got it in DC TIG. I got the amps. I'm gonna go up to about 90. I've got a thicker piece of material, maybe 110 or so. So let's do some testing. See what we got here. You're gonna have to learn the settings just like any weld machine. All right, let's try some aluminum. I'm happy the way it's TIGging. I just got to get used to this handle. So I got a couple pieces of 1/8 aluminum. I've got the machine set in smart mode, flat welding on some 1/8 steel. And it automatically sets it for me. Now, I don't feel like I have the proper tungsten for aluminum. Now, I know there's a big debate about that, but I'm gonna use what I have, but I've got my tungsten balled and we're gonna give it a shot. It could be much better, but that's due to my welding. I didn't clean this steel. I think it'll do just fine. So right now we're going to move on to plasma cutting. All right, we got it set up on internal compressor and a piece of dirty thin sheet metal. It's about 16 gauge. Actually, that's not too bad. It's not bad at all, just a little swarf. Let's move up to some 1/8. Little swarf. That was my fault there at the end where I stopped. Not bad though. Let's move up some thicker steel. Here's a piece of 3/8. Let's give it a try. I'm running at about 35 amps. Very little swarf, just a little at the end there. A piece of 1/2 inch. I got it set to 45 amps. Cut like butter through it. I've got some 9/16. Let's try that. So this is actually 5/8. Pretty thick stuff. Got a little swarf, but it cut right through it. Nice. Okay, for stick mode, we need to be set up in the DCEP position. So we'll be moving our ground over here and our electrode over here. Okay, so I got a piece of 1/8 steel here, and I'm just going to run a bead here. I'm going to use a 60-10 rod first, and then I'm going to come over it with a 70-18 low hydrogen rod. Not too bad. These rods are kind of old and had a rough start there, but really ran nice bead. Puddle was very nice. All right, I'm going to run a low hydrogen rod right over the top of that. Welded fine if I was just a better welder, but I'm pretty happy with that. Puddle was, so I didn't have any issues. If I was just a better welder, machine performed fine. No issues with stick welding for sure. All right, let's talk about the machine for a minute. What I like, what I don't like. The main thing that I do not like is the torch head. It's not flexible. If this was flexible, it'd be awesome. The other thing is it didn't come with a foot pedal, but that is an option. It's not something that I'm used to anyway, but that would be awesome. But the main thing is the torch itself. Now I understand to get all this control in here, they have to make it like that, but if this head was flexible, it would really help. You could turn it down, angle it, do what you need to do. That's my only complaint. It does have this little ball right here. And the other thing is it is a 12-foot long torch. That's pretty nice. I like the ground clamp, heavy duty ground clamp. That's real nice. The cutter is fantastic. And I really like the standoff that comes with it, a good steel standoff. And you saw it cut through 5/8 inch steel like butter. I mean, there's a whole lot more settings to play with for me to get used to the machine. This is the very first time I've tried it. I took it out of the box, and what you saw is what I did. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with this machine. And for the price, it's really impressive. Now, where do I think this machine fits in? Well, it fits in great in a knife-making blacksmith shop. I think in a mid-production level shop, it's fine. It's not an industrial machine like out on location on pipelines and refineries and that sort of thing. It can't handle that kind of stuff, but I don't think it's made for that anyway. In a shop setting, general commercial work, it's going to perform just fine. I found that the welding and the TIGging operation work just as well as my thermal arc does. And I like the versatile power options. Just remember, if you're using 110, you're going to have some limitations on what you can do with this machine. With the higher voltage input, you can run this machine at the 45 amps, cut that thick steel and that sort of thing. You can still do some good work at the 110 volt range, but not like you can at the 220 volt range. Another cool thing is you can run this machine with your CNC setup and do plasma cutting on a plasma table. Cool stuff. And finally, another great feature with this machine is the built-in air compressor. Makes it real mobile. With your power options and that built-in compressor, all you need to go out on a site somewhere and you got to repair a piece of farm equipment or whatever you're doing, bring a little generator along and you're good to go. That's really cool. And I did not use house air on this machine doing the cutting operations. All of that was with the built-in compressor. I wanted to see if I could max it out. I didn't try anything above 5/8. I was pretty impressed with that. But anyway, I hope you found this review useful. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll leave a link and a discount code in the description. Thank you for watching. Later.